There is some important breaking news coming in at this moment, although unfortunate one, where 5 Indian Army officers and Jawans have been killed in action. Remember, we have been reporting on this story since yesterday. 2 Army captains, 3 Army Jawans have been killed in action in this encounter, which is going on at this moment in fact, Kokarnag in Jammu and Kashmir. My colleague Vishnu Shom has accessed some exclusive details of this entire operation. Vishnu, over to you.
Ankit, thank you very much. What we will now bring you are exclusive details of what has taken place in that encounter in the larger Rajouri area. In fact, a large part of this encounter took place about 3 kilometers away from Kokarnag, if you're going to look at it from a map. I'm going to describe all the details and what has taken place. It is a very sad day. Fortunately, however, the 2 terrorists behind this have been eliminated. So the 2 terrorists involved in this encounter have been eliminated near the broader Kokarnag area. Unfortunately, 2 Indian Army captains have been killed in action, and 3 Indian Army Jawans have lost their lives as well, killed in action in this fierce encounter. What exactly happened? The terrorists were on the run since the 19th of this month. The army launched an operation on the 20th. There was always intelligence on the presence of terrorists in this area. What is the area? The operations, and we'll bring you maps later on, took place in an area called Ziyarat, Mal, the Gulabgarh forest, and the adjoining Solaki area. Again, Kokarnag is the reference point on the map, and we're looking at the broader area around Kokarnag. The operation, as I said, a large part of it was conducted 3 kilometers from Kokarnag. The terrorists on the 19th, 20th were believed to be hiding in shelters or dhokes of graziers in that area. On the 22nd of November, Captain Pranjal of 63 RR, that's the unit, came under fire from terrorists as he went into that area where he was actually talking to a woman, inquiring about or trying to collect information when he came under fire. Captain Pranjal sustained a serious gunshot injury at this stage. What the army does, obviously, in a situation like this is attempt to rescue at any cost. And Major D.S. Mehra of 9 Para Special Forces attempted to rescue Captain Pranjal. He went in over there with his buddy, perhaps a few more soldiers. He drew fire in his direction. In other words, he went to the captain to try and rescue him. Terrorists in that area, there were 2 of them at least, fired in his direction, and he was shot at this stage. It was at this stage that Captain Shubham Gupta, Havaldar Majid, and Lance Naik Bisht, also of 9 Para Special Forces, intervened. They needed to ensure that the major was retrieved, also the captain who was badly injured. Terrorists at this stage, in the firing which Bisht, Majid and Captain Gupta began, ensured that these terrorists were engaged and cornered in an area. Unfortunately, and I will describe the terrain that this entire encounter took place in, the terrorists were operating from dominating heights, as a result of which the 3 Jawans I've just described to you, Gupta, Majid and Bisht, received fatal injuries. Fortunately, Major Mehra was rescued and is stable. Earlier on, of course, Captain Pranjal lost his life. He had been rescued, but he didn't survive. I believe he succumbed to his injuries. He was killed in action en route to the hospital. Now, here's where bizarre things in terms of information are coming our way. On the 22nd night, 23rd, early morning, in other words, early morning today, Pakistan attempted to drop arms for these terrorists through drones. So quadcopters went in carrying ammunition and perhaps guns as well, not big guns, but perhaps pistols, because there's a payload restriction in this area. The army detected this and foiled this attempt by the Pak drones to resupply the terrorists in the area. Perhaps these drones were shot down, I'm slightly unclear, but they have been able to recover the weaponry or the ammunition that was being dropped over there. 7:30 a.m. today, soldiers of the army engaged 1 terrorist. Remember, there were 2. 1 terrorist was engaged. At 9 a.m., this terrorist was eliminated. A paratrooper involved in this operation, Paratrooper Sachin of 2 Para Special Forces, sustained injuries, I believe fatal injuries. So that is what resulted in 5 fatalities, 2 officers and 3 jawans of the Indian Army. A second terrorist was hiding behind a sangar. What sangar is a stone structure in the forest. There was a gun battle which ensued. 1 jawan of 9 para has been injured in that gun battle with the second terrorist, but I believe is okay. This second terrorist was subsequently eliminated. Now, in all of this, the terrorists, as I mentioned, were firing from dominating heights. Why is this important? Because if you're firing down, it becomes tactically beneficial for those firing from a height. In this entire area, again, one of the areas where these encounters were taking place, the Gulabgarh forest, visibility was only 3 to 4 meters. In other words, because of how dense the forest was, soldiers couldn't really get in that easily, and therefore if there was an ambush situation, if there were terrorists who had taken up tactical positions which were beneficial to them, it would be very, very difficult to actually get to them. Details of the terrorist: the main terrorist has been identified by the army, identified as Qwari. He was a Pakistani Lashkar sniper and an explosives expert. He was active in Rajouri for over a year. He was involved in at least 3 terror incidents, 2 this year and 1, I believe, last year. Sweep operations, cordon and sweep operations continue in this densely forested area.